Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to the Daily Update on 1000 Days Challenge. This is day 539, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, balance remained the same. I did actually have a small lot of experimental trades up earlier today. I'll update after this video itself. And other than that, as you can see across the market, especially for US and crypto market, we're actually in a very somewhat like a technical kind of bearish market. Especially for crypto itself, we're really closing below the 40K mark for Bitcoin, very likely to close below that today as well. Which is why I mentioned, I think 3 days ago, yeah, on the 18th of January, I entered a short setup. I'm currently still in this short setup in a profitable position as shown over here. How low it can go, like what I say, is anybody guess. So over here right now, I guess in terms of target wise, it's definitely 1:2-ish. Yes, hit, but definitely I won't be taking the full profit out of it right now. It could actually consolidate over here, over a weak bounce and then close and then drop even further low itself. So in terms of how far this can go, it really depends because there have been some people saying that it could potentially be seeing somewhat like a head and shoulder pattern. Over here, somewhat abstract. But to me, the key thing over here is you've got a low high, a lower high, and we have a small little consolidation here, which is generally not a good thing, but but that being said, it's definitely a technical requirement or good to have when it comes to a formation of head and shoulder and a breakdown to the downside. So in which case, actually over here itself, if you consider the head pattern to the shoulder itself over here, breakdowns would definitely see a much lower low, in fact, all the way down another 70%, which would be, in my opinion, too drastic, and around 12K or 13K mark itself. Not to say that it's 100% possible, but definitely I do think that the 30K mark, even the 20K mark, will be a very strong key psychological support itself. So in the meantime, right now, I'm just waiting for clearer support to come into play before I do add in terms of long-term position-wise, which is currently right now, I'm looking around 36 to 35K region itself, and also near the 30K mark itself. So other than that, I don't think there's nothing to be too concerned about. If you're learning for the long run, Bitcoin is still bullish overall. So in fact, if you look in terms of just setting half a year ago, even this 38K mark was actually quite bullish, I would say. So nothing to be too concerned about. So in terms of breakdown wise, like I mentioned, I'll be trading very closely and observing to use the 20 exponential moving average as a trailing stop loss. If we do have a bounce and close above it, something like this, that is where I'll close my stop position, short position itself. So that's it for Bitcoin. And if you're looking in terms of other markets, you can see it's highly correlated. So both for S&P 500, we tentatively still bullish, but we definitely have a close below the 150 days simple moving average, which is definitely a first bearish sign or bearish potential. You can see that ever since the breakthrough on the COVID period, the March to April 2020, we actually haven't touched it. So this is the first time we not only touch it, we actually break it on the very first try. So the key support that everybody will be looking at is definitely a 200-day simple moving average. So for Nasdaq itself, we actually broke it, nothing to be too concerned about. On the weekly chart, we definitely still look bullish, which is why I say we actually want a much more sharper kind of a retracement in that perspective. So if you see in terms of the COVID kind of drop in 2020 itself, we actually dropped 30% over, say, a 1 month period. So over here, if we do emulate something like this, a 30% drop will bring us somewhere to around 11 to 12,000 period. So definitely still a potential. So 11 to 12,000 period itself would mean that we will still have approximately another 20% of drop for Nasdaq itself and still remain very healthy to me. So yeah, in fact, you'll be dropping along this region. I'll be very keen to buy the much larger size position itself, or even take some form of leverage, especially when it comes near this mark itself, which is the 9 to 10K region itself. All right, and tentatively, you can see that ASH, China market has been relatively flat, so a very good sign. So let's see how things holds up. If we actually could bounce up to the upside, it'll be great news. You can see that there was green candlestick with a strong volume, but stop picking things up. So let's see how things goes. And then for KWAP itself, definitely still has a bit of a sign of a reversal. We are trying to maintain above the 20 exponential moving average, but it seems to still be a little bit weak. And I want to mention, the more time we stay along here is definitely not a good sign. So I do hope we have a very strong push towards the upside. Otherwise, further bearish momentum is more likelihood. And yep, so with that said, I've come to the end of today. So for Bitcoin, like I mentioned, is the current main setup that I've been in. And yeah, you can just follow me along if you want to, and I'll be trading very closely in terms of the stop loss. So the key thing to take note of is also the 20 exponential moving average on the daily chart. Of course, he actually violated it a little bit, but otherwise over here you can see there has been a very sharp key reactive point over here, also over here as well, and over here where it's been relatively supportive. So yep, otherwise that's more or less about it. If you guys have any questions, feel free to drop by your comments below, or I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care, bye-bye.